There are a ton of perks in DBD. Some can drastically change the flow of the game, and other ones can make skill checks a little bit bigger. I'm looking at you, this is not high, but today I want to try to make 30 new perks for both Killer and Survivor. It's going to be a 50-50 split between them both, so each side will have 15. I originally tried to keep all the perk names FNAF related, but there's only so much you can do with them without it like seeming forced, you know what I mean? So you'll see some other names in there as well. But I'm not going to waste any more time, let's just go ahead and get started. Oh, my head. What? Where am I?
Do you want to play a game? In front of you is your subscriber count. To survive, you must hit 25k by the end of 2025.
25k? That's pretty easy. I think we can do that.
Okay, fine. 50k.
Okay, wait, I may have messed up.
Too late.
Okay, well, if we can hit the goal of 50k by the end of 2025, it wouldn't only mean the world to me, but it would also save my life. So wait, are you just gonna stand there or... Anyways, let's go ahead and get started with the first killer perk, which is Scourge Hook Agony. So the first perk here is indeed a Scourge Hook type perk. So it's the same as all the other ones, how like at the start of the trial, 4 random hooks change into Scourge Hooks. Upon hooking a survivor on a Scourge Hook, all other injured survivors become broken for 25 seconds. Additionally, when a survivor is unhooked from a Scourge Hook, they become broken for 15 seconds. I can't lie, I originally thought that this was the effect they were going to do for leverage when it was changing in the past, but clearly I was wrong. Honestly, I just really like the idea of this perk. It can be very good on killers that are able to injure you easily, or with perks that make it harder to heal. It especially pairs well with killers like the Oni, since having people injured is like key to getting your power constantly. Honestly, that's all I have to say. I'm not going to be saying much about each perk, I'm just going to be saying the name and a few thoughts, but I'm just going to be alternating between killer and survivor perks here. So perk number 2 is called Another Way Out. When the last generator gets complete, seal the killer's aura for 10 seconds. During endgame, all chests are shown to you, and the next chest you open or rummage through is now guaranteed to contain a very rare key or higher. Then the perk deactivates. Keep in mind, this only works if all the gens are done. This does not work if you're the last one alive and the hatch just gets closed. This is just to prevent people sitting in the corner waiting for other teammates to die and everything. You know how it is. But I do like this perk because if you for some reason can't make it to the gate and everyone has left already, this perk can literally save you in certain situations. It can give you that escape that you need. Number 3. Party favors. After hooking a survivor, this perk activates. The next chest open, totem interacted with, or hook tampered with will make the survivor scream, interrupting their action, and then blind survivor for 3 seconds. Then this perk goes on cooldown for 30 seconds. At first, I thought this perk wouldn't be too good, but honestly, it can be pretty useful at times. Like, okay, let's say you're carrying someone and survivor tries to sabotage the hook, they will scream, which will cancel the sabotage, and then they wouldn't be able to see for the next 3 seconds. It can definitely save you in that situation. Or if you have like a hex build, you can tell if they're messing with totems due to someone randomly screaming. Obviously, this can be countered if they know you have it, like they can go up to like a chest or something and get rid of the effect just by like tapping it on something useless. But still, I think it's a decent perk with certain uses. I think it can really save you. Number 4. Helping Hand. While in the dying state, this perk grants you the ability to heal up other down survivors at 75% of the normal healing speed. I don't know about you guys, but I find myself in this situation a lot. And a lot of times, me and my friends just meet up and start doing whatever the hell this is. Yeah, I don't know. But wouldn't it be nice to just be able to get each other up like this? I think this perk is obviously super situational, but when it does come into play, it can really turn the tables for the killers that like slug to win every time. Especially if you pair it with like other perks like tenacity or other healing perks, it can really make a difference. Number 5. Hex Draining Presence. Once the last generator is completed, a random doll totem becomes Hex Draining Presence. This hex makes the exit gates regress if not being worked on by survivors. Its regression speed is set to 200%. This hex effect stands until the totem is cleansed. I'm actually really surprised that they don't have a perk like this yet. The amount of killers I've seen that complain about like gates being 99 is like insane, and I've seen a lot of people talk about a perk like this for a while now. I thought for sure by now they would do like some kind of perk like this, but maybe I just don't know how strong it would actually be. But that's why I decided to make it like a hex perk, so that's not a permanent effect, and a killer can't just like camp both gates easily. Unless the totem is like in between both gates, then you're kind of screwed, I can't lie. Number 6. Boon Insider Knowledge. Any gen within the boon radius gets an 8% speed increase. This does not stack per survivor working on the generator. So, okay, this is one of the perks I don't really know like how to balance. A boon that makes gens faster in the radius is something that like I always thought about, but I could understand like why they never did it. It can be too much for sure, so I don't really know like what to make the percent. I want to make it high, but then you can have everyone with this perk and make every gen faster if the totem spots are good. But then again, I don't want to make it too low considering you have to find a good totem spot with at least a gen inside its radius. So I don't know, I think I'll just keep it at 8%, but maybe you could go down to like 7 or even 6 maybe. Please let me know what y'all think of like a perk like this. I both like want it and I don't want it at the same time, so I don't really know to be honest. Alright, number 7. Silent Night. Whenever a survivor stuns you with a pallet, you receive 2 tokens up to a maximum of 6 tokens. Each token reduces your terror radius by 2 meters. You lose a token when you break a pallet. Okay, so I personally love the idea for this one. I like how it can create scenarios where like kills will be more stealthy, but at the cost of leaving more pallets up. I'm sure this would be paired with perks like enduring to make getting stunned not so bad, but this perk could be good on those kills that like already have a small tear radius, such as like the hag or like even spirit. I don't know, I think there's a lot of room to have like fun with a perk like this, and you can be counterable too. If the survivors want to bring a perk like any means necessary, it could be very annoying to have pallets being brought up constantly. Number 8, resourceful. Okay, now this one's kind of confusing, but just stay with me, please. Broken pallets and the shards left over are now highlighted to you. Going to where a pallet was broken, press the activate ability button to pick up the pallet shards and gain 1 stack. Only one survivor can pick up a stack of shards per pallet. Once at 2 stacks, create a weakened pallet at any pallet location. Weakened pallets can break instantly once dropped, but can still be used to stun the killer. The same location cannot be used twice for a weakened pallet. So yes, this weakened pallet would act just like those party pallets from the anniversary events, would just like break instantly when dropped. I don't think this perk would be like very good, but any help against the killer is always welcome. And it doesn't really cost you that much either. Just go over to like some broken pallets, collect some shards, and set up a weakened pallet somewhere. Preferably somewhere nice like Shack, or even like a good main pallet could work. I think it could be fun. Number 9. Hex Close Paths. 1 trapped hex totem will spawn in the trial. When the trapped hex totem close paths is claimed by survivor, all totems become blocked for 45 seconds by the entity. So if you can't somehow tell, this is another trapped hex totem just like Hex Haunted Grounds from the Spirit. Depending on when this totem is broken and what other totem perks you have, this could be detrimental. Especially if you pair this with like Hex Survivor Hope and you have like 3 stacks or something, it's honestly just so over if that happens. Like I don't think they even win that anymore. Obviously this perk can do like nothing if cleansed early, but if cleansed at the right time, it can literally just like win you the game right on the spot. Number 10, Night Guard. Blinding a killer with a flashlight reveals his aura to you and all other survivors for 10 seconds. This perk has a cooldown of 25 seconds. Honestly, I just wanted like a really simple effect for this one, nothing too crazy. But this could still be very useful to have like very small like wall hacks during a chase if you're able to blind the killer. And also it'd be a nice way to show the other survivors like where both you and the killer are. It's simple and can be useful, it works for me. Number 11. Scourge Hook False Illusion. When hooking a survivor on a Scourge Hook, their aura is shown on a different Scourge Hook to all other survivors. Upon reaching within 60 meters of the actual survivor, the aura is shown correctly to everyone. Before I say anything, let me first state that the hook bubble will still show up in the right spot. It's just the aura of the survivor that is fake. But this perk is basically just having like the blindness effect, but like weaker. I think it makes sense to be weaker though, since like blindness eventually wears off, and this wouldn't ever wear off if you keep hooking people on Scourge Hooks. But it would only be between Scourge Hooks, so there will only be 4 spots survivors can like falsely like show up. Unless using the perk Jagged Compass, which actually like adds more Scourge Hooks, that would actually pair very nicely with this perk. I don't know, I can see this perk being like very annoying if you're not like paying attention, but I don't think it should be like too strong. Then again, I say that, and remember how annoying it is going against like Hex 3rd Seal, so I don't know. Number 12, security measures. Whenever the killer vaults a vault location, see their aura for 5 seconds. This acts very similar to Alert, how like it doesn't have a cooldown and it works map wide. This would honestly be very useful when like looping around Shack and the killer has like Bamboozle on Bubba or something. It can definitely mess them up for sure, especially if going against one of those killers that just like vault 3 times in a row back and forth like a psychopath. I'm one of those killers. Number 13, I always come back. After being stunned 3 times by any means, every gen within 60 meters of any survivor gets blocked for 20 seconds. I didn't even know what to do for this one, but I just wanted to include a perk by the name of
I always come back.
And this does kind of act in the way of getting back at the survivors, I guess. I don't know, I personally like this idea, but maybe it should have like a different effect that I'm not thinking of like at the moment. Maybe we can just like start regressing gens instead of like blocking them, or maybe even you can like block windows instead or something. Cause there's already like a lot of gen blocking perks in the game like currently, so maybe I shouldn't be like making more of them like this one. But I don't know. Number 14, Troubled Past. 10 seconds after being injured by the killer within 4 meters of a vault, this perk activates. That same vault location becomes highlighted for you. Once highlighted, the next time you vault it, it becomes blocked for 15 seconds for the killer. Then this perk goes on cooldown for 30 seconds. I think this perk can make for some really interesting scenarios where like killers have to vault certain windows to chase you. Like for example, if you set up this perk for that one vault like on the game, the killer literally cannot chase you down if you vault it. At least for 15 seconds you can. But it can even be useful on like certain main building windows or even Shack itself. But I do think this perk should like have the option to like deselect windows that have been chosen, because I'm sure you'll get hit like near windows that are completely useless. So I think having that option would be very nice. Number 15, Lingering Terror. After being in chase with a survivor for more than 10 seconds, this perk activates. The moment you leave chase with the survivor, your terror radius lingers on that survivor for the next 15 seconds before fading. Then this perk goes on cooldown for 5 seconds. Now this perk isn't too strong like at all, but I do think it's funny to use. And I still think it can be, I still do think it can have its uses to like just, and I still do think it can be, and I still do think it can have it, dude, what the I can't, I still think it can have, dude, I'm gonna crash up. And I still do think it can have its uses and I still do think it can have its uses and I still do think it can just have its uses to just confuse the hell out of survivors. especially on indoor maps where like you can't really see the killer. You just won't know if they left the chase with you or not, and it could really confuse them. This could also pair very well with perks like play with your food or other chase like involvement perks. I can't think of any right now. I don't know. I think this one is a nice, simple, fun one, but let me know what y'all think about it. Number 16, unveiling. Yeah, that one. Cleansing a totem reveals the killer's aura for 10 seconds. If it's a hex totem, reveal the killer aura for 20 seconds. Cleansing speed is increased by 15%. Honestly, this could just be a really nice way to find the killer if you have absolutely no idea where they are. But I personally really like this one due to the fact that I both run into hex builds from the killer a lot and use totem breaking builds like this one quite often. So this really just adds to it perfectly for me. I also love the idea of totem cleansing perks having an extra effect when cleansing like a hex totem. I think only Overzealous currently has this effect, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would personally love to see it used more. Plus the 15% increased cleansing speed is just a nice bonus to have. Number 17, Hex Tracker. For every survivor that is further than 32 meters of you, their aura is revealed every 15 seconds for 3 seconds until the hex totem is removed. Originally, when I made this perk, I made it so that it was any survivor outside your terror radius has their aura revealed. But then some perks, or straight up just some kills, like Ghostface, can just remove their terror radius. So they would be able to see like literally everyone no matter where they were. I did not like that, so I made it for anyone 32 meters away from you. It's kind of like Whispers in a way, just anyone outside that range, kind of the complete opposite actually. The totem does start spawned in just like other hex perks, but the effect itself doesn't start active, so you can't see everyone right away. You have to wait 15 seconds and you'll see whoever is outside of a 32 meter radius. This perk in my opinion would be very useful, especially on those bigger outdoor maps like Crota's Bren, and it could really help those far range killers like Artist. But I want to hear what y'all think of this one, because honestly I'm not too huge on using hex perks, I can't lie. They always just break instantly for me, I can never use them. Number 18. Invocation, connection terminated. So here I just want to throw in an invocation perk because I don't know, why not? So when in the basement near the circle, press the ability button 3 to begin the invocation. Invocation takes 60 seconds, blah blah blah. It's just normal invocation stuff. Once the invocation is complete, the following effects apply. You become injured and broken for the rest of the trial. Disable the killer's power for 45 seconds. Completing the invocation disables the perk for all survivors. I feel like the invocation perks that we have now have just not been worth doing. Now, am I saying that this one is? I don't know, it depends. Because if the killer is someone like Legion, then disabling their power really doesn't do all that much. Especially if everyone's already injured, then he like already just doesn't have a power, there's no point. But if it's someone like Nurse or Huntress, holy, it's so over for them. Nurse being super slow or just not be able to blink, you might as well just DC, honestly. But it's only for 45 seconds, so if they do it at like a bad time, it won't really even matter. But if it's like late game and you're holding like a tight 3-gen, it could be detrimental to just lose your power randomly for the next 45 seconds. I don't know, I think this one has its potential to be game winning, but it could also be for nothing. It honestly all just comes down to when you do it and who the killer is, in my opinion. Number 19, Extra Step. Okay, now before I say this one, I do not think this would be added. I just thought the idea of this one could be very interesting. So here it goes. This perk creates 4 extra chests in the trial. If a survivor is bringing an item to the trial, they no longer spawn with it. Instead, they'll have to search any chest to claim the item that they picked out in the lobby. The item is guaranteed in the first chest they search. If there are no more chests available, the survivor item is lost. Now, as I said in the beginning, I don't think this perk would be added, but I just really like the concept of it, so I wanted to include it in here and see what y'all thought of it. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be like too opposed to this being added. I just feel like it's weird to add, I don't know. Because you could even make like builds around this, like you could have Dominance to block chests for 16 seconds so they can't even grab their item. Then you bring Hoarder to see like when they open their chests. Or you could even bring like Franklin's Demise or Weave Attunement if you really want to be mean. I don't know, I think it can just promote like a really weird playstyle, but that's just me, I might be tripping. Number 20. Boon Unchained Will. While being carried within the boon radius by the killer, increased rate of which wiggle progress is gained by 5%. I can't lie for this one, I always wanted a boon effect involving wiggle progress, but honestly I don't know what to make the percent. I just settled with 5% because if there's like a teammate nearby with breakout, this could be very strong if any higher. And I've seen JRM on Hawkins with exponential boy over and flip flop and it already seems like a nightmare. So I think 5% is okay personally. Number 21, Scourge Hook Lingering Dread. If a survivor is within 16 meters of another survivor hooked on a Scourge Hook, they suffer from oblivious and exhaustion until they leave the area or save the survivor on hook. Once leaving the area or unhooking the survivor, this effect lingers for 3 seconds. This perk would be like especially good when paired with a Jagged Compass and just making every hook a Scourge Hook. I mean, yeah, sure, this effect like isn't too strong, but I didn't want to do something too brutal like Hindered or something. I just think being oblivious and exhausted is good enough to be honest, and it can really screw over people that are just like passing by or even like in chase around the hook. This isn't the strongest Scourge Hook perk for sure, but honestly Honestly, I just want more of them in the game. I personally really like using them. Number 22, Boon Silent Treatment. While inside of the Boon radius, all notifications become silent for the killer. This includes rush actions such as vaults, lockers, and even pallet drops. This will also include missed skill checks on generators. Now, I actually really like this one. If you were to pair this with like Boon Shadow Step, you would literally be like untraceable during a chase. Also, the missed skill check thing is just like a nice bonus to have. Obviously, the gen would like still like lose progress, but there just wouldn't be any sound for it. But of course, this is a Boon perk, so it kind of depends on like what's inside its radius for how useful it would like actually be. But if you get a good spot, this could be super nice to have for a chase. Honestly, at this point, I'm actually like kind of surprised how little Boon perks they have. I personally really like using them, and there's a lot of possibilities for them. I could literally make a video on just Boon perks, but I don't think anyone else but me would want that. Number 23, Sixth Sense. Each time a unique survivor is hit, gain 1 token. Once at 4 tokens, see the auras of all survivors for 5 seconds. Then you reset back to 0 tokens. Okay, I won't lie here, I've definitely seen this perk idea before, I can't remember where, but I actually just really like the idea of it, so I just had to add it. I think it's like a healthy perk for the game, just due to the fact that you have to hit like everyone once, and it can't just like single out or like tunnel out like a couple of people. It forces you to hit everyone if you want to get value, which I personally think is just like a great design. Honestly, I don't have much to say. Overall, I hope a perk like this eventually does get added. Number 24, Trauma. This perk activates permanently after being unhooked once. Anytime you enter the killer's terror radius, see the killer's aura for 5 seconds. I wanted to make a perk like this because it would kind of act like anti-tunnel, but like it wouldn't at the same time. It could be more useful with like Eyes of Belmont or like against killers with like a smaller terror radius. Maybe I should make like the amount of time that you see the killer for like longer, but I don't want to extend it too much since there is no cooldown. Or you know what, actually maybe I should just add a cooldown. Either way, I think this perk is interesting, but I think it does need like some kind of tweaking. Number 25, Isolated. If 2 or more survivors are within 8 meters for more than 30 seconds, they will scream and suffer from the blindness status effect for 20 seconds. Then this perk goes on cooldown for 60 seconds. This perk is pretty similar to like Discoordinates, but it just basically like doesn't have to be on a gen. But it can be really useful on like those bigger maps, and yet again, it would be very good with killers like the Artist or like other like long range killers. Especially with that one add-on to like spread crows, this would be ideal on like killer like the Artist. I just think like the information on this perk could be very helpful, but this perk can be played around if they know you have it, obviously. But usually in solo queue, everyone is like pretty clueless, so I think you should be fine. Number 26, Lingering Ritual. When cleansing a totem, the progress now stays after leaving it for 15 seconds before starting to deplete at 5 charges per second. Cleansing speed is also increased by 5% if within the killer's terror radius. So as I said before, I love using totem cleansing builds, so I just had to make another perk around it. Okay, I know, I get it. But like, just let me be, alright? A perk being able to save totem progress, at least for like a little bit, could be huge against hex builds from the killer. Especially if you're in like a pre-made team, if you get like interrupted while cleansing, you can just tell a friend to go like finish cleansing for you while you're in chase or something. I mean, sure, it's situational, but like it can be super helpful in those situations. Plus, I don't know if I've said this, but I just love using totem builds. Number 27, Spring Locks. You begin the trial with 3 tokens. Upon hooking a survivor, receive a token. If a survivor fails the generator skill check, 1 token is used, and the survivor who fails the skill check will suffer from the incapacitated status effect for 10 seconds. Now, the incapacitated status effect is a pretty brutal one for those that don't know. Just look at this list. This is what you can and can't do while you have it. It's pretty messed up, I can't lie. But that's why it's only for like 10 seconds, and it's only when you miss a skill check. But you could use perks like Overcharge and Merciless Storm to make people miss skill checks way more often. Better yet, use them on Doctor 2, and it'll be such a fun time for everyone. Guys, I regret everything I said. It wasn't a fun time. But anyways, I do think this perk would be pretty decent, and it can definitely delay a gen if really needed. Number 28, Noble Sacrifice. Once being injured by any means, any survivor within 8 meters of you gains 25% haste for 2 seconds. This will cause the exhausted status effect for 20 seconds for both you and every survivor affected by it. Noble Sacrifice cannot be used while exhausted. This applies to both you and the survivors around you. Honestly, just think of that 1 2v8 class where like you gain haste around people using it. I actually don't know what to make the haste effect and how long to make it last for, because I don't want it to be like too strong, but if either you exhaust it, it won't work, so. But still, like I don't know how to balance it like super well, so let me know what y'all think about it. But either way, I still do think this can like really come in clutch during like endgame situations where like you're taking a hit for someone injured or someone that like just got off hook. I think it can really shine there personally. Number 29, Backstage Echo. When a survivor cleanses a totem in your terror radius will transfer onto that survivor for 20 seconds. You're granted the undetectable status effect for the duration. So since I like using totem builds so much, why not make a punishment killer perk just for that? But I do also love terror radius transfer perks. I know there's already 2 in the game, but like 3 doesn't hurt to have, right? Realistically, this perk could only be used for like totem builds, because like just by itself, survivors don't really have a reason to just like cleanse random totems. But yeah, if this was paired with a hex build and a big terror radius, it could be very annoying to go up against, especially if paired with like Pentimento, because they gotta do more totems than usual. But now it's time for the final perk of the video. Number 30, Lockdown. When stunning the killer 2 times, this perk activates. The next time you stun the killer with a pallet, entity claws appear and they can't break the pallet for 10 seconds. During this time, the pallet cannot be vaulted by survivors either. Honestly, this kind of acts like a weird Spirit Fury, but for survivors. Funnily enough, actually, Spirit Fury would probably be the counter to this because they would just break the pallet instantly instead of blocking it. At least, I think it should work that way. But this perk can be extremely strong if used correctly. If you have plans for like a good pallet that the killer can't just like easily go around, then you would be completely safe for like 10 seconds, that's a lot of distance. But if you use this on like a bad pallet, then it might just be GG's, I can't lie. Maybe 10 seconds is like too long, but you do need 2 stuns beforehand and 1 final stun to like actually activate the perk. So I think it's fair enough, and maybe it should be actually a little bit longer. Plus some killers can just like avoid pallets altogether. So it would really just depend on that too. Okay, I done now. So that concludes all 30 perks for this video. Please let me know what y'all think of these perks and which ones are your favorite. Let me know in the comments below. I'm personally hoping that we get to see at least some of these ideas, either for like the FNAF chapter or like that one solo killer chapter coming out in like a few days. I'm very excited to see if I got anything right. Probably not, but still, whatever. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope everyone has a fantastic day.